Esther, here's the point. There's a ticking clock, right? He's only got a year till he has to call an election. They're never going to get what they need to do to even get this back on the table in time. So this is dead for this government anyway. What do you make of this? I mean, the problem is, at the root of this is a real problem.
Well, of course.
You know, the small boats issue is not something that is a small problem.
Well,
it's something that enrages the British public, that tens of thousands of people come in here illegally, brought here by unscrupulous, greedy smugglers who don't care if the people they bring over live or die. It's a humanitarian crisis in that regard. It's a ridiculous farce that our country's border is so transparently porous they keep wanting to pour in. And at the root of it is a system that just doesn't work. 30,000 people on the asylum backlog. Why can't we just do the basics?
It's way more than that, by the way.
Is it?
Turn them away.
It's 130,000 plus.
130,000, I'm sorry.
I mean, that's the population of
130,000 people on the waiting list, right? I mean, this is ridiculous for a country like ours.
Well, of course, but the question is, what exactly is the government supposed to do about that? You can't turn them back.
I think you actually can.
Well, but they're not doing it. That's the point.
Yeah,
And this is the issue here. This is an existential crisis for the Conservative Party because it goes against every principle. It goes against law and order. It goes against fairness and meritocracy. At the end of the day, the amount of money we spend on these boat crossings is more than the budget for homelessness in the UK. It's incredible.
You two are both Conservatives, right? You identify as Conservatives. And yet you're both instinctively very hostile about this, which is
because the answer is simple. The answer is simple. Turn them away.
The majority of people who do get here on boats are granted the right to stay because they have a legal right.
No, they don't.
The government is trying to use the channel as a moat. If you had safe and legal routes...
Don't talk over each other.
Do you know part of these migrants are Indian students coming from Serbia because Serbia has a visa-free waiver with Indians? They are not genuine asylum seekers. No, let's contextualise this. Since 2018, the population of Solihull have crossed the channel on boats. That is a side
we can all agree it's wrong, and clearly if 15,000 fewer people are coming because of the Albanian economic migrants coming over, then that clearly is a problem as well. But there will definitely be some legitimate asylum seekers and refugees who, by the way, have come from countries that we bombed. Right, so we have a moral duty to take care of them.
Well, we went there, they went there, they come here. It's a backhanded compliment they want to come here, start a new life, work and pay their way.
You know who we have a moral duty to? The women and children that they're leaving behind if they're in such a desperate situation.
Well, look, we can all agree it's an absolute horror story, right?
I'm not against it on principle, by the way, because I think that if we were actually able to do it, it would stop the flow of migrants. I'm against it because it was flawed from the start because we were never going to get it.
How would you fix it?
We would never get it to happen
If I've made you Home Secretary tomorrow, which, by the way, it might happen. We've had 6 in 6 years, so let's assume you're number 7.
I would be working with the Ministry of Defence to turn back the boats. Whatever the legal niceties, I would be turning back the boats. It's been done in other countries. Actually, Belgium is doing it. And once you start turning them back,
Kevin, why are you shaking your
will
head?
stop coming.
Right, because I remember Priti Patel said this, and the Royal Navy was deployed. But Royal Navy sailors are going to try and use their boat to push back a dinghy, knowing they'll capsize it and people have died.
The Australians have done this, and we've actually
deployed them.
The Australians have done this, and we've consulted them. Why can't we just do it?
The Australians, those boats are huge boats.
That doesn't make a difference. It's still a boat. It's on water.
Look, if you're trying to do the Australian system here, it would be ruled quite rightly unlawful. Now, the Rwanda deal, it was cruel, it was cruel, it was unworkable, it was expensive, it's immoral.
The Australian thing, it worked brilliantly. There are no more boats coming over.
Do you know what happens in those camps that they send them? The levels of suicide and ill health.
Well,
is that really what you want?
That's on the people.
Is that really what you want? Is it?
Excuse me.
Where's your humanity?
The suicides on the people.
Where is it?
The people heartlessly smuggling these individuals and taking money from them, not the governments defending their borders. I'm sorry.
Look,
that's what a country means. A country has borders.
By not having safe and legal routes for people
to
apply to come here, you are a business manager for the people smugglers. You are sending people to people smugglers.
How? By turning them away?
The majority of people, once they cross in those boats, are given a legal right to stay here.
That doesn't mean they should be.
Exactly. It means our system is broken.
Kevin, if you've actually looked at the criteria by which their cases have judged, they are ludicrous.
I think we could do ourselves a massive favour if we just
started
by processing the people faster. I mean, the first thing I would do if I was James Cleverly is massively increase the number of people processing these applications. So at the very least, you get that number right down.
They should be turned around within a week.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point of processing them for just letting more people in?
They allowed the backlog to go over 170,000. They are now putting more resources in it. It's come down to 130,000. Now,
But all this money we're spending at the moment on Rwanda, 150 million, put that into more processing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it appears we've paid it.
No, I know.
They're not going to give it.
But we're going to keep, by the sound of it, we're going to keep spending money on this folly, right?
Well, exactly, but which is madness. But do you know the difference between the EU acceptance rates for asylum seekers in the UK? 37% versus 77%. There's a reason why when in the safe country of France, they choose to risk coming here.
Right, let me ask you this, Isabel, how damaging... I mean, it's been a fascinating week for Rishi Sunak. He has to sack his Home Secretary, which I think was the right thing to do. I think she defied his authority, and you can't have that as Prime Minister, and she did it brazenly. Then he woke up this morning to quite good news, right, that he'd hit one of his 5 pledges. Inflation has halved.
Brilliant.
It's come down,
things are still going up. Let's just remember the cost of things
but it's come down. It's going up everywhere, but it's come down a lot faster than was predicted. That's a tick in his pledge box, and yet he couldn't even celebrate that before this happened. Rwanda. So it's been a turbulent week for him.
I think it's catastrophic, actually. I think this is absolutely, as Esther said, this is existential. You know, I got the email, "Dear Isabel, have you checked out our promises?" from the Chancellor, saying, you know, great news, inflation has halved. Yeah, I've checked out your promises. One of the main ones was that you were going to stop the boats, and you have abjectly failed to do that.
Well,
You've got
hang
no
on.
plan.
I interviewed Rishi Sunak. He didn't say completely stop. He said he would stop this.
Yeah, she had "stop the boats" on his podium.
That was the slogan, but they have stopped a lot of the boats. I mean, that's in Ireland.
If you looked at the T&Cs, he was going to pass legislation to
it's
stop
not
it.
Going to fly with voters.
He gave the impression he was going to stop the boats. There's no government. If Labour come in, they will not completely stop the boats, because even if you allow the people who are entitled to seek asylum in the UK to come through safe and legal routes, those who aren't allowed
All right, final question,
will still
Esther,
sail.
Does Rishi moving more to the centre-right and abandoning people like Suella Braverman on the more extremity of the right, is that going to be better for him at the election?
No, because what matters is him actually acting instead of, you know, moving whichever way he wants. At the end of the day,
he has acted.
Not really though, because he hasn't stopped the boats. In as much as I agree with a lot of Suella Braverman, what she said, I think she's a very unskilled, untalented politician. I think she's very callous.
I think every time she opened her incendiary gob, she said something that made my skin crawl.
But the thing is, she's an amateur.
Homeless.
She's an amateur.
Well,
but the thing is,
they brought it on themselves. These people. It's a lifestyle choice.
She was way out of her depth, and the government is better without her.
You know what? It's why I have no sympathy, because she may be jobless, but that's a lifestyle choice.
Let's get her a tent.
Exactly.
All chip in.
Wouldn't that be ironic? Thank you to my back. Good to see you all.